Good morning, everybody. This is Jasmine Field here, just giving you some tips on how to create a learning atmosphere in your own home environment. I know many parents are still very, very busy during this quarantine time, and I'd love to have a consult with you by Zoom, or even if you wanted to just shoot me a message and tell me what your current struggles are. We could create a budget together or even modify it even more with the tools you have at home, just to bring the world to life that you're trying to portray. For a child, getting into costume, making sure things are tangible, using real life language as it applies to different professions and activities really brings it to life for them. So I'd love to talk to you about how to do that in your own special way. And in the meantime, you'll be building memories, creating bonds, and educating your child about things that maybe they would or wouldn't be learning currently in school. So I wanted to give you just a little tour of how we set up our activities today because we're doing pediatric surgery. Both Noah and I are very excited, and I wanted to show you what our operating room looks like in our living room. Hold on. Here we are. So there we are, and we have our operating table. This I made just by pushing two small tables together and draping it with a white sheet. And we still have our baby doll that we used earlier this week from our baby nursery activity, but today she's going to be opened. I did teach Noah what the word incision meant, and that is definitely a larger word for his vocabulary, but because I defined it and broke down the language in a way that he understood, he knows that it means a big open cut that you have to use or that you have to make on a person's body in order to successfully do surgery, which is opening them up to take out something bad. That's how I explained it to him. So on this operating table, we have many tools, and a lot of these things are old toys that we have. So don't feel like you have to buy up a bunch of new things every time you want to do an activity. A lot of these tools already came to us over a year ago, but I've really tried to make sure we've kept up with everything in our doctor's kit so that we could reuse it again and again and again. So we just have some examiner mirrors, we have some forceps, we have actually a syringe from CVS, if you'll look at that. And I actually got these art knives from Dollar Tree, and we use them to cut slime. It's in our science bin, but today we're going to use it for our pediatric surgery, and I'm going to insert hot water in here and teach Noah the definition of sterilizing instruments. So also, in addition to what I said about having the right tools, this is the costume that Noah's going to be wearing. I'm going to turn my phone just so you can see it a little bit better. And I'm actually going to teach him what it means to scrub in for surgery. He was elated when he got this costume. It includes a cap, it has a mask, and he's going to be watching a little video right before we start of a very, very mild surgery procedure, just so that his mind can start understanding why are we using these things in these ways. So whenever you're trying to develop an activity for your child, think about who they are and what they respond to best. Some kids like to watch things a little bit longer. Some kids want to hurry up and get started like Noah. Other kids, maybe you can teach them what it means through doing an art project or reading them a book and then saying, now let's bring it to life even more. Let's do an activity and you can do your own operation. So today we're going to have a combination of activities. This is going to be our role play activity because at Noah's age, role play is a very, very important part of play. Lillian, of course, she just turned 1, so it's a little more difficult for her. But what I do is for everything Noah does, I try to toddlerize it in a way where Lillian can understand. So she's going to have her own little bin of some doctor tools, which she does like to put in her mouth. And I am going to model, and so is my husband, Justin, how to cut one of the dolls. And we're just going to be tapping her lightly with some cotton balls, making sure that she understands that when you do open something in the body, ouch, it does hurt you. It hurts. So we want to try to make it feel better. Of course, she can't understand the concept of pediatric surgery, but this isn't about her being educated because of her age. For someone her age at 1 year old, this is about exposure. So when you're thinking about a preschooler, think about education more. And when you're thinking about a toddler, think about exposing them to something different and understanding that they don't understand concept yet. Everything's very literal. So she's still touching things, but she is observing what Noah is doing right next to her. Okay, so this is once again our operating room. We're actually going to be using that box there next to the scrubs. That's actually my nebulizer machine for asthma. And I'm going to be helping Noah tape that onto baby Zelania's mouth. And I'm going to be teaching him about how a patient needs to stay on oxygen while they are on the surgery table because their lungs need to keep breathing. And that's very important to make sure he's managing during surgery. So I'm going to choose about 4 or 5 new terminologies because I think that's the max for what Noah would be able to actually retain. And then afterwards, and even as we're doing it, I'm going to make sure we're reviewing the terms and that if something is inaccurate, I say, wait, remember what you just told me. If she needs oxygen, then we can't just take that off. Or if we need to cover her because there was a little bit of blood, you got to make sure you put your mask on because, whoa, some blood might squirt in your face. But that's okay. Everybody's body has blood. So it can be a very, very encouraging activity, even though it seems very intense. And because it's memorable with you and it's memorable because they're participating, you'd be surprised when this comes back up. You can overhear them playing with something later and he can say, oh, I need to make an incision. And then you know it really stuck and it's a really cool moment. So make sure you reach out to me if you have any additional questions. Again, this was just some tips to give you some ideas. Maybe your living room looks different than mine, and that's okay. What's really cool is that you can make a whole world inside of your house or even inside of one room of your house. I would encourage you clean up ongoingly rather than letting the mess pile up and then that being something that after a long day you still have to clean up. That's how things are able to transition easier in our home. We have a rule that before we go to the next activity, we clean up from the last one. And of course, they don't always clean up because it can be overwhelming if they clean up everything. So I've instituted a principle of every time it's cleanup time, everybody helps. So I hope this has been helpful, and please keep an eye out on my Facebook page for more posts of what we're doing for the rest of the week. And before you go, I wanted to show you how to use this cool x-ray pen because my x-ray machine is homemade. I used it from an old Amazon box and I just wrote x-ray machine all over it. And I'm going to project an image here, see if you can see it. And that is, oh, come on. There we go. Those are the lungs. So there are about 7 or 8 different images on this projector pin. And for each one, I'm going to be explaining how they function in the body and why it's important to understand them for surgery. But again, I'm going to be going at Noah's pace. If he looks overwhelmed, I'm going to slow down a little bit, focus on the things that he almost has an understanding of or that he has a sharp understanding of to build his confidence. I really don't want to overwhelm him because then it can take away from his interest in the activity. So something else to keep in mind, make sure you go at your child's learning pace. A lot of times it's not that they're not interested, it's that they don't understand. And rather than feeling frustrated, they pull away from the activity. So I hope this has been helpful once again, and enjoy your day. Have fun imagining, creating. It can be so much fun if you just take a breath, try something different, meet your child where they are, and do your best to create the world around them so that it feels real to them and even real to you. You can find yourself laughing in many situations you thought would be stressful. All right? Have a wonderful day. Have fun whatever you end up doing, and reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you. Have a good one.